Hello, nah, how you doing? Uh, this here I'm gonna invite you up. This room is about teaching young kids from 3 years old advanced math, starting with math, multiplication, division, and things like that. Right now I'm in Japan, and I teach English, and I also teach math to children during the last 10 minutes of my English lesson and stuff. I've had experience in teaching my daughter when she was 4.5 years old, about 20 something years ago. I taught her grammar, ABCs, how to read and write, use a dictionary, adding multiplication, division, subtraction, decimals, percentages, fractions, algebra, basic trigonometry, and basic calculus. And it took 6 months to do it. I just came home, sat at the table, got a pencil and the paper, start talking and writing. And 6 months later, she understood it. If you understand mathematics, there is a common uh, foundation, between them all. The only difficult things about it's just the vocabulary, and that's it. So I'm just here to, you know, like I said, encourage parents to start teaching their children at a younger age. Maybe from 3, I think is a good age to start. And if you want, come up and talk. If you don't want to talk, just come up on stage anyway. You can stay muted, no problem. Um, I'm an American born in. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, it's bedtime here, and I thought, oh, I just saw the room. I was like, let me pop in and say hi. Do you have any live sessions for kids? Have you started offering live classes for kids? Can you hear me, Duncan?
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, I was talking. I was on mute. Yes, I've done it also. I do that. Classes for children. I can do that live, no problem.
Yeah, but do
Yeah.
you have a schedule or how does it work?
Oh, well, I'm in Japan, so usually, it's usually private, and just whatever the schedule is for your child or the child, then they'll let me know the times, and then I'll just match my times with theirs, and then we'll just do it like that.
Okay, so but
Schedule it.
you're so what time is it right now where you are?
Oh, it's 5 in the morning.
5 a.m. Okay, so you're ahead of us because it's 9 p.m. here.
Oh, 9 p. Oh, so you're in 9
See,
p.m. Whoa, you're in London?
I'm in Austria, in Europe, next to Germany.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. I mean, that's just possible. Whatever time is good for you, I can usually arrange it because I know you guys are. Hello, Blossom. Please come up and join us on this stage. This um this room is about influencing parents to start teaching their children advanced math from the ages of 3. And I always encourage them to start with multiplication division because it's much easier to teach that than addition because multiplication division only deals with one set. And then once you do division, it's easy to jump into teaching them decimals, percentages, and fractions and things like that. So come up, just hang out on stage. You don't have to talk, stay on mute. But go ahead
Hi,
now. What do you say?
haven't seen you in a while. How are you?
I'm good. I'm always good. Hello, Amber. How you doing? Please come up on stage. This room is about encouraging parents to start teaching their young children from the ages of 3 multiplication and division because it's much easier than subtraction and um, addition. And with division, it's easy to go into decimals, fractions, and percentages and things like that. Math is not difficult. The academic world say that young children do not have the intellect to learn advanced math, but that is so wrong because the word intellect just means to have a capacity to learn. And for any child to have a capacity to learn, they just need a brain. So what they're putting out is really wrong. And I do teach advanced math to children in Japan from 3 years old, and I do it. I start off with multiplication because it's really simple. I've done it on the trains, I've done it in Starbucks, I do it at my school. And for a 3-year-old child, it takes less than about like 5, 6 minutes to teach them how to do that. Please come up on stage if you want and ask any questions. But go ahead now. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no. I'm gonna write you about scheduling something
Oh,
for my 6-year-old.
okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Multiplication would be easy. I mean, to start with there first. It's really simple. You'll laugh. You'll laugh. It's because a lot of people they don't even. I've asked hundreds of people. Um, no, no, that day. Because you might have never know it. So, sorry. And
I
so
know. We're all
I've asked
parents.
100 of people, lots of people, maybe from 6 to 8 years ago, and what's the word multiply mean? And in all of those times, only 6 people could tell me the answers. I've asked mathematicians to teach at universities, a lot of people, and it's really sad because if um, it's one thing to not believe that a child can't learn, advanced math, multiplication, and stuff like that. But it's a totally different thing if the person who's saying that don't even know what the word multiply mean. So yeah. And I will say this real quick. My daughter, she's 34 now, but when she was 4.5 years old, out in Los Angeles, I taught her how to grammar, how to read, write, use a dictionary, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fractions, decimals, percentages, basic algebra, basic trigonometry, and basic calculus, and it only took 6 months. When it comes to math, there is a underlying foundation, and once you understand the foundations, and of course, understanding the meaning of the word, then it's really easy. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, sorry. Then once you understand that, it's really easy to teach young children. And even though I start off at 3, even better, it's easier. They're not going to be 3 forever. They're not going to be 4 forever. They're not going to be 5 forever. They will grow. And my original plan was if a child starts at multiplication at 3 years old, by the time they start first grade, they can start algebra. But since then, I've thought of quicker ways to do it, and it's really easy, and they can do it much quicker. I'm be able to start algebra really quick. So, but go ahead. No, sorry, I'm
No,
gonna go on mute.
no, no. Don't worry. I'm stepping up now. You know, the baby is still playing. Well, he's not a baby anymore. The toddler is still playing. So
Okay,
I wanted to say pop in and say hi and
okay.
check in with you. But
Did you
I
join the club?
yeah, yeah, I'm part of the club.
Okay, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. Well, have
Yeah,
a good.
just oh, I'm gonna
I
send
mean,
you back channel. Oh, go ahead.
I will DM you with the schedule, and
Oh,
we fix
oh,
something. I mean, right now Fridays are our free days, so this is good.
oh, okay. Friday. Okay, I think that's fine. Cause
Okay.
cause Friday night, so it'll be like 8, 9, 10 in the morning. So what can I say?
Yeah, but we will. We can.
Yeah.
We can sort it out in DM.
Okay, but I'm gonna send you a email so you can email me because I don't. I'm so busy. I don't get to check those what you call them so much. What do you mean? Or I'll just send you an email. It'll be better to contact me there. Is that cool? Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah. This sounds wonderful.
Okay. Thank you very
All right.
much.
So bye. Have a good
Okay.
morning.
It was a good night here.
Yeah. Oh, good night.
Oh yeah, it's morning, huh? Yeah. Yeah. I gotta go home, sleep, and then go to work. Okay. Thank you. You have a great day. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna send it to you right now. Uh, Math for young children. Oh, hello. Math, uh, Wait, hold on. I'm sending an email. I'm not even in there. see that. Wait, hold on, I'm sorry. Be right there. 1 second. Oh, come on. There's a cursor. And for young children, one at I think that's it. And for young children. Okay, I'm back in the room. Hi, Amber. How are you? I'm gonna make you a moderator because I, for some reason,
I'm good.
always delete myself out of the room. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, always fine. Do you
So,
have any
so my
questions or
son
anything you
was
want
a
to talk?
yeah, my son. He was a very early reader, about 4 years old. He's like most of my kids, but he's also my oldest son is very good at math. What ages do you teach?
Oh, it doesn't matter. If they're three, like 3 or 4, because they can't actually do it themselves, I usually just have the mother there, and I'll just go through it, and then the mother be able to see what I'm doing, and she can just do it on her own, you know, on whether or not the child can write or not. But it doesn't matter. 3 years old is fine. They'll just sit there and watch what I'm doing because they do understand. I guess they understand English. If it's in a different language, it might be a little problem for me. But uh, yeah, the ages from 3 is fine.
My son that I'm interested in possibly pursuing classes with you. He's 6 years old.
Oh,
Um,
that's a perfect age. No problem.
he's pretty intelligent overall, but I don't think that he's pushed enough in the school system, of course. So I need to look into your program.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my program is like really super, super, super easy, and it's no pushing or nothing. It's really fun. It's interesting. Most of the I've showed it to in Japan in my classes, or sometimes I'll just, if a kid is acting up on the train, I'll just ask the mother or the father, can I teach him real quick? They surprise, and the kid sees it and they straighten up and two, three problems, and they just do it on their own. So it's really a simple process, and you don't even need like if they're 6, 30 minutes is fine. That might even be too much. It's just really simple. It's super simple. When you see it, you'll be like, oh my God. That's what all the parents are like, oh my God, it's like way too simple. It's almost embarrassing. It's so simple.
That's great. Like my son, they just don't challenge in math. Like he does have a reading program that is geared towards kids that are way ahead in reading, but they don't really offer things for kids to excel in math where I'm at. So I'm looking for that because it's really important math, especially in the future.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's no problem. Just we could do a class. Like I said, if he's 6, it'll be really simple. 30 minutes is definitely too long. Maybe it'll take like the first 10, 15 minutes. And then after that, we can, like, I'll show you how to do show them, how to do the single digits. And then when you get to the double digits, there's an easy way to do that too. And I'll show you how to, help him remember the multiplication tables and stuff like that. And even like during they only really should only uh, memorize from 9 times 9, because when you do 12 times 12, it's double digits, and there's never a time when you're doing multiplication where you multiply 2 digits at the same time. So it's just, from doing 10 times 10 to 12 times 12, it's just totally unnecessary. It's just totally unnecessary. So, but yeah, we can do it. Just oh, let me back channel you my email because I
Yeah,
don't
that'd be
have
great.
Okay, thank you. I don't have I gotta put a
What do you do, like
web page up.
a couple times a week, or?
Oh, no, it's so easy that um once I show you once, then like in 30 minutes, if you want an hour, that's fine. Maybe the first 30 minutes with your child, then the next 30 minutes, I can answer your questions and and stuff like that. It's really that easy. And after that, you probably won't even need me until you're practicing with your son, until your son get to a level where you're happy, and then you can just call me back and we'll jump into the division. And then I'll just say when your son is good with the division, then you come back, and then we can use division to go into fractions, and then I can teach him how to divide with the decimals, and then jump into percentages. But it's easy. It really is easy. Like I said, when I do it in my English class during the last 10 minutes of class, some parents, they get very angry because the way I teach is really easy, and the way they learn it in Japan is like so much more difficult. So trust me, you'll laugh. You'll laugh. Everyone who I showed it to, they're like, "Oh my God."
So how far up in the math do you teach?
Um, oh, I could teach up to calculus, maybe physics, but I would have to go back. Calculus, I would have to go back and study it. But the best pattern is to start off with. Wait, let me see the email right quick, so I don't forget. Wait, children one. The email address is math for. Wow, I wrote the whole math for young children one. The figure one for math for young children. The figure one at gmail.com. Wait, math for yeah. Sorry. Yeah, children.
Yeah, I've heard about you on. I think Monica did a
Ah,
with you.
yeah. She's really cool. Okay, I just sent it to you. I think that should be it. Yeah, we talked the other day, and she was saying like she wanted to do some stuff and get the hey, well, tomate. 初めてしまった. Okay, 気をつけて. Okay. Yeah, 今見てるすごい. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is thing. First do multiplication, single digits is really easy, and um then when it gets into like the higher numbers and stuff, I'll show another way to do it. And there's a lot of counting and stuff, but that's good for the student. I mean, for your child to learn to count, and then show you what multiplication really is, because it's not about, because I asked a lot of people what multiply mean, and they always saying this addition and stuff. It has nothing to do with addition and stuff, even though you can use it. But uh, 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 the real I'm calling you, the real the real real multiplication really has nothing to do with addition and stuff. It's something else. I'll tell you that later. But uh, but after the multiplication, get into division. That's really easy. And then division, you only have to really just do. You can do two letters, whatever. I mean, not two numbers, two digits, three digits, doesn't matter. But they're young, just however they can count to. The highest number they can count to is you can just do that until they, able to count to higher numbers. And then from there, is easily. I mean, it's just moves smoothly into doing divisions where you end up with fractions, and that's really easy. And then from there, I'll teach them how to um, divide by decimals, and do division with decimals inside the division sign, outside the division sign, and then when it's both inside and outside the division sign, it's really easy. And then from there, jump into coordinates X, Y, X, X, X axis, Y axis. And hello, how you doing? Um, Come up and speak. Wait, let me see if I can reach a number. Tammy. Oh, that's pretty
Hey,
cool. Hey, how
I'm
you
fine. How are
doing?
you? I just saw
Great, great.
the
I'm making my.
title preschoolers and graphing coordinates, and I am not like a class away from getting my degree. However, I have issues in math, so if I'm saying if preschoolers can learn, so can I.
Yeah, no problem. I could teach adults too. It's really, 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 really simple. Simple, simple, simple. Just just yeah, just go for it. But wait, I gotta finish saying something. Explaining something. So Amber, and then once you the jump into coordinates X, Y axis, X axis, Y axis, and the reason I jump into coordinates first is okay, like you do the x and the y in the parentheses, and then you show them how to plot the graph 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Once they understand that, then I change it to x equals to y. So if x is 0, y is 0, so it's the same thing with 1, 1, 2, 2, and all of that stuff. And then I introduce then that, because you're dealing with x and y, that is awesome, because that's what is that called? Algebra is. It's dealing with the variables x and y. And so the children will be getting used to doing please tomate. Okay, the children will be used to dealing with those variables x and y's as they plot the learning to plot the graphs. And then you can jump into algebra and stuff like that. And then once they do the algebra, just really simple stuff, then I go into squaring, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, and it's like really easy to do that. I mean, it's ridiculously easy to do it. And I a brother came on here, and there was other mothers in here, and like three mothers, and I think the brother he came in here, and the title was Preschoolers and Squaring Numbers, and he just couldn't comprehend it. So I was forced to teach them how to do it, and it took 15 minutes to do it because he wasn't paying attention, and 10 of that 15 minutes was just trying to explaining them just to draw a square and stuff. And when we finished, the guy was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it! This is it." He was like, "Oh my God!" And then he started laughing. It's like, "I'm so sorry. I put a lot of strain." I said, "No, no, it's okay. It's okay that you do that, but remember, this is a children's class. This room is for kids, not I'm here to teach kids, not adults. So, but it's okay." But anyway, you go into squaring. Squaring is like really easy, and then once you do the squaring, then you can jump back into algebra. X, y equals to x squared, which is a parabola. Y equals to x squared plus 1, 2, whatever. You can't go too high because the numbers should just jump up and stuff. And then once that's done, then because you're doing algebra and stuff like that, then you can go back, and of course you're still doing the math and make sure the kid can count up to your child can count up to a higher number. And then I'll show them like a really easy way to multiply, the standard way we multiply, because the way I'll show you to multiply is a different way. And then doing the division. And then a good thing too is when you're doing algebra, that's where when you're doing division, that's where the you can start introducing the subtraction and division, and then you can start introducing the addition while doing the coordinates, the algebra and stuff like that. And then from there, it just depends on um, how much the child comprehends. And jump into trigonometry, that's really teach to a lot of people think it's, please interrupt me. Okay, I'm just going on, but just interrupt,
my
say,
son's super excited. He's all excited right now because he's like, "Ooh, I can learn stuff that the high schoolers are doing." So I'll definitely message you and figure out a time to get together.
Okay, thank you. I'll be waiting for that. But yeah, it's really simple. It's trust me, it's simple. It'll revolutionize the whole English way that I mean not English, but the way they teach math in in America. And well, I mean, if you get that skill, I did go to college and learn all that stuff, but I didn't get a degree because I ended up coming to Japan and doing business and end up becoming a millionaire. But things happened, so I just walked away from it. And then I do have a grammar class, grammar reading and all that stuff, and it's just as powerful for if the young kids are advancing so fast at such a young age, and it's just as powerful as the math, and so yeah, but it's really simple. But yeah, just contact me and let me know. And do you have anything you want to say to Tommy, Tommy, eh? I'm sorry, I'm in Japanese. In Japan, we would pronounce it Tommy, eh? But is it a Tammy?
It's Tammy, simple Tammy.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any questions or
I don't.
anything?
I was just like listening. Let's I don't,
Oh,
yeah. I was just curious how and exactly what you were teaching.
okay. Yeah, it's just like I said, it's just start off with multiplication because it's super easy. Once you understand, like I said, the real definition, I mean, what multiply really means, then, it's like, oh, okay, well, mo ite mo mirai. Oh, amanaya. Please tell my damn guy. Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry, somebody's driving in. Okay, anyway. But yeah, it's really simple and stuff. And like one time I had a title on here, preschoolers in trigonometry, and a professor came in. He was a university professor from, I'm thinking, Iran, and he pretty much was like, "You can't. That's like totally impossible." And I'm like, "No, it's not impossible." And wait, was that hell? Wait, I mean, no. It was a guy from, I guess, Somalia. He lives in South Carolina, and another brother, and they got on me because of that title. And I am like, if you, oh no, this is what it was. Preschoolers, um, a preschooler, probably a preschooler, discovered the basic construct of trigonometry. And if you understand trigonometry and how it's made, it is very possible that a 3-year-old child could have developed it. And he came in and he was not happy about what I said. I don't know why he would make it personal. And another guy came in, and so they were like, expressing their views of concerns and stuff like that. And it was another guy, white guy too. He was in there, and I'm sorry, I'm talking black when I'm like 57 years old. I'm like an old man, and that's how we talked back then. So I don't know now. Everybody's done changed everything. I don't know what to call everybody, so I just talk like I talked back then. And anyway, they were like, "Well, how can you teach a 3-year-old child, you know, trigonometry?" And so I just had to give up, and I explained it to him, and when I explained it to him, the guy from Somalia, he was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you explained it. It's so simple." He said, "If we can get that," well, I guess he said we, but I guess he talking about himself. If he can get it back to Africa, teaching those young kids, from 3 years old, math, 5, 6, 7, 8, he said that, they would be able to, um, create all kinds of discoveries, technology, discover things at such a earlier, and at a younger age and stuff, and I've had that conversation a few times when I have that title about trigonometry and stuff, and everybody's like, "Oh my God," they just get really blown away, but it really is simple. I think I have another group. It's called the same thing. Math is easy, but for adults, and uh, it was it was the second class because the first class was like really emotional and really stressful, and I almost just deleted the whole like almost like just deleted that room period,
What?
because it
Are
was
you
just really,
serious?
yeah, it was really stressful.
Right.
And oh, okay, thank you, Amber. Got your message. Yeah, it was really stressful, and it was really bad. I was like, oh my God. And then the second one I started, and it was called, because a lot of parents came in, and a lot of adults, parents and adults came in, and they were just distraught and just crying about how they had these mathematical problems, these problems with math when they were in, when they started multiplication and division, and some people just couldn't even get over the stress. Okay, ko 그러면 심할 때 못하지 그거를 샤베 이 허시. But 그러면 와 심할 때. I'm sorry. Okay, and they were like really just pouring out their deep feelings. I'm talking about women in their 50s just still keeping that trauma, that they had in third, fourth, and fifth grade when I guess whatever it was you start. I think it may be fourth grade you start multiplication division. And so the second one was, oh yeah, get rid of your childhood uh, math trauma. I think it was something like that. I don't know what I was thinking, and I made that, and I'm telling you that it was. I mean, I almost cried. Everybody was just spilling their guts, and one mother, Keita, one mother came in, and she was just really distraught, and just came in. It was really emotional. She was, I mean, to us, it was yelling, but I wouldn't consider yelling. It was just she had so much emotions built up that when it came out, I guess her windpipes were not big enough, and it was like if she was yelling, and she just like 5 minutes, blah 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 blah. And then she started crying, and I don't like math, and then just left the room, and I was like, wow, it was like really, it was really interesting, but it was really trauma. Um, so when I start, like when I'm saying now, I could teach 3-year-old kids. I mean, three. I mean, of course, I could do 3-year-old kids, but usually they 4 or 5 is better. Trigonometry, the math, doing coordinates and stuff. The problem is a lot of parents, they go back in history when they were taking mathematics, and they, bring up the trauma that they had. And then what a lot of parents do when they're raising kids is they project their problems, and they project it on the children, saying, well, if I can't do it, I know my child can't do it because I know my child. And that's not necessarily true. And then that's where a lot of children, I won't say they get held back, but I mean they do get held back because of that. But it should be something in place where parents, they always talking about going back and talk about your life, whatever problems you have. But math is a big problem that a lot of parents, I mean, not parents, I said adults, they keep forever until they're able to do it. So after that room, I didn't open it up again because I was like, no, I don't know if I can handle it, but it is something that needs to be done. And I'm not a professional psychiatrist and all of that stuff. I mean, I do counsel people. I've been, can I say that? I used to be really popular on YouTube, like 6 to 10 years ago. I don't know if you watch YouTube, but I made these videos called Do You Love Black Men? And basically, the purpose of those was it was I got the idea from a white guy from New York who saw my videos of me and these three Japanese women and Japanese guy, and they were all at work. And that was when Mac first came out with their camera. And I was telling them about it, because the owner, me and her were good friends, and they didn't believe it. So I showed them, on the desktop on the screen, just recording us just talking. So I put that on YouTube. They said it was okay, and in the video they said it was okay too. And he said he saw the video, and his thing was like, wow, my friend said Japan was racist. He said, I'm a white guy. My white friends tell me it's racist and stuff. I'm like, why is he saying all that stuff? But, then he said he saw me and he saw I was a black guy having fun in Japan. So he said, if he can, then, if I can, as being black, he can, as being white. And so I thought about that, and I made these videos called Do You Love Black Men, just to tell brothers, hey, you don't have to uh, be scared to travel, get passports and travel, because people will talk to you. People love you. Don't worry about it. Then one sister asked me to make one for her, and then I did make one for white people too, and Mexican people. But and then I start talking about education in those videos, telling guys it didn't matter who. When you're junior high school, this is what you do to study. When you go to high school, this is what you do to study. And when you go to college, this is what you do to study. And I wasn't expecting people to watch it. And a few years later, maybe 3, 4 years later, I got a phone call from one guy in the States saying, thank you for the videos. If I wouldn't have saw 'em, I wouldn't have never thought about going to college. He said, I just got my BA. And after that, a lot of people started calling me from, Europe, the Americas, all over the world. And a lot of people like, oh, I got my bachelor's, I got my master's, I got my AA, I got my PhDs. Guys, they got their master's, they're calling me saying, can I get my PhD? I'm like, of course, go for it. And then a whole bunch of them just started coming to Japan and thanking me face to face. So this education thing has always been with me. But the reason I started this room, and I have one for grammar too, is because uh, I was in my school teaching these Japanese kids how to read. They're reading at 3 years old and 4 years old and 5 years old. And I was doing one lesson where I take a word and I teach like the word run. I'll just use something simple, eat, and then I teach them how to take that word eat and then make, I think, 10 different grammatical sentences in English. And basically be, I eat an apple, the apple is red. I am eating an apple. I have eaten an apple. I had eaten an apple. There is a red apple. There I am eating an apple. An apple is eaten by me. I am made to eat an apple by my friend. I make my friend eat an apple. And I go through everything. I mean, the program, I mean, that's the high, well, the highest one is taking a sentence and then uh, making it to a question. And then from there, we go back to the reading. And then we're able to discuss the whatever the content. And then they ask me questions. We're making questions and, going back for Q&A. And so I was doing that. And these children out here, they're no different than American kids. It's just how the parents push them. Plus, they got a bunch of cram schools and stuff that are local and they're affordable. It's not like in the States. But they're like you got a McDonald's on every street. It's almost like they got those all over. And so these kids are going to school. So that's why a lot of the Asian kids really are smart because they just studying more. They're spending more hours studying. The if you want to improve your children's uh, grades and whatever at school, it's all about the vocabulary. But I'm not going to get that's another story. But you got to use the vocabulary at your jobs and your professions, whatever you're doing. You use that to bring that vocabulary home because that's the vocabulary that they're going to learn when they get into higher levels of, junior high school, college. And when I went to LA, because I was born in Ann Arbor, out of the hospital right to Detroit. By the time I got to sixth grade, I was in advanced math. Then I went
That's
to
where I
California.
live.
Where, in
Yes,
Detroit?
sir.
Okay, yeah, I was there. I was born in 64, and I can almost remember all the streets: Birmingham, Cherry Line, DeSoto, Roseline, Cascade. uh, DeSoto, and those areas. I remember the streets.
Yeah.
And so then when I moved to LA, I moved to Westwood, which is right across. I literally lived like right across the street from East LA. Went to school in Bel Air, and if you want to fact check me, the name of the school was Bellagio Road Elementary School. I graduated in 1976, and if you go and if they have a graduation picture, which they should, I'll be the black kid right in the middle of the photo with a frown on his face. And but anyway, when I was hanging out, living over there, I was always at my friend's house in Bel Air, Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, all over the place. Um, there was this thing that was going on a few years ago with how they were like talking about the tests. Rich white kids are taking these cultural tests or whatever, and then the black kids would take the test and they wouldn't be able to understand the vocabulary. And a lot of people falsely thought it was because the white kids were smarter and the black kids weren't smart. And then they also thought, well, because of rich kids, they get to go to these kind of banquets or whatever, and they're exposed to those words. That's a total, totally wrong. The thing was, when I was hanging over there, because even Barry Gordy, I used to hang out at his house. Me and his son Kennedy were, well, we weren't friends at school. I know it, but I didn't hang out with the blacks because when I came from Detroit, I was like charcoal black, and a lot of blacks at that school, they were light skinned. So back then it was just light skin against black skin thing. So the white kids took me in. So one of my white friends actually took me over there, and the three of us used to always go over to their house during the weekend. I mean, me and him used to go to their house during the weekend, and all three of us would hang out and stuff on property and stuff. But what it was when I was hanging out with my white friends, those kids didn't want to study. Black kids didn't want to study. The difference was the parents. Those white parents, and I'm sorry, like I said, I'm just talking back how it was back in the old days. Uh, those white parents knew their kids didn't want to study. So what they did was they brought their vocabulary from their medical fields, architectural, law, science, government, whatever they did, acting, whatever they did, they brought their vocabulary from work home. And that's the vocabulary that you had to use in the house. And even when I went over there, they was like, if you don't speak this language, you can go home. you know. So my vocabulary shot up, for the 3 years I was over there. But when I moved back to the black neighborhoods, my cousins in South Central LA and stuff, they were doctors and lawyers and engineers. But the difference was they didn't bring the vocabulary from their work home. So the way we talk in the streets, what's up is that you be and I is and we, whatever, that was in the streets and at home. But in the white areas, in those rich white areas, the whatever they said outside, the parents didn't care. When you was at home, you used this vocabulary. And that vocabulary that they use is the vocabulary that we are all supposed to use when we go to school, and especially when you get to college. And me and some friends, we used to get into these discussions about the vocabulary, and they're like, "Well, why do we got to learn this and why we got to learn that?" And then I said, "Well, there's two obvious reasons. One is if you're going to go to work and you're going to be a doctor, you can't be in there, you know, uh, talking slang. There's an official language that you have to learn, that everyone had to learn." And I said, but if you can't comprehend that, then think about this. If you're in a class with 50 students and they're all coming from different parts of the United States, and we all know that every region have different slangs and slurs, and you from the north and go down south and you're like, what are you saying? And then the west coast and the east coast, and it's just all crazy. And so I said, so what do you think is better? Is it better to teach everyone everyone's language? That'll take forever. Or teach everyone a new language. And the vocabulary that we learn is a new language. So if everyone learns the new language, then we'll be able to speak with each other and communicate using the same vocabulary that won't, and it'll reduce a lot of what is that called, confusion and stuff. And they're like, oh, well, I never thought about that. And I said, that's what it is. Because, and then another thing, then I'm done. A lot of parents and kids like, why I gotta take this class and why I got, well, I got two more things. I'm sorry. Why they gotta take this class and why they gotta take that class? And I'm saying, when you go to school, the teachers, the government is, if they were to ask you, okay, what's your favorite subject? If they ask that to a first year or first grader, what's your favorite subject? That kid don't know what they're doing. They don't know. So what they do is they offer different classes, and in those different classes, they get to learn things, and the kids pick up on whatever it is that they like. And you know what they say: if you want to make a lot of money and enjoy the job, whatever you like doing, that's what you go into business doing that thing. And so they're giving us all these classes. And when if you, like, let's say if you go into psychology or whatever, let's just use psychology, okay, since it's easier. If you like psychology, then that's what you pursue. And then you can go out and you can make millions of dollars being a psychiatrist. And so that's why we have to take all of these classes, because they don't know what we want and we don't know what we want. And a lot of people, and especially parents, they don't see that. And like they're always saying like this thing about, oh, they don't teach us finance and they don't teach us management. They do. My friend, we've gotten to it. And I'm like, your mama taught you how to be a manager? Why my mama didn't, she don't know nothing about manage. And I said, well, you managed to put your clothes on. And then when I said that, they just started laughing. And I'm like, you guys, you know, the vocabulary is very important. You have to learn the vocabulary. And then there's one thing too about the math thing. Oh, hello. Um, oops, wait. Sorry, my screen disappeared. Oh my God, where is it? Okay. Hello, Mark. I'm gonna invite you up. Please come up if you'd like. Let me find it real quick. And um, So I was on here in one of these this class, and this lady, she's a student. I guess she's a professor at oh, okay, let me see. Hold on, hold on. She is a professor. Okay, good. Let me invite you up real quick. Let's see. I made you. Okay, I got you. Okay, and hello. This is the last thing I'm gonna say. So it was this class, for kids, and she was like, "Oh, I teach." She's in Iran, I think. She was saying, how does she teach? I'm really terrible at this. I am so sorry. And so she was complaining. Well, if she wasn't complaining, but she was expressing her concerns from her students who were. She was teaching them, manicures, I guess, with the nails and stuff. And she was saying how her students were saying like, well, they have this curriculum and stuff. Why we need math? We don't need math. We doing nails. Why we need math? And I was really surprised. And I was like, the math is important. Well, we don't need algebra. And I'm like, when you're doing business, algebra is a very, um, what is it, important tool in doing your business. And she didn't understand. So I'm gonna just go through the calculation. So I said, okay, check this out. Let's say like if your students want to make $10,000 a month, and then they off every Sunday, and they work from Monday through Saturday, because Saturdays you get a lot more customers, and they're off once, every Sunday, right? Or your store is open because they can take vacations and stuff. And I said, okay, so you divide that by 26 days. So basically, in those 26 days, you need to make $384, right? And I said, if each time a person come here, your average price is $75, which is pretty cheap, I'm sure. Then you divide that 384 point, almost approximately 385 days, divide that by $75, then that means you need to have 5 customers. That's it. So let's say like if you appropriate, I think that's appropriate, or allocate 2 hours. I don't know these vocabulary problems. But you allocate each customer has 2 hours to do their nails. Then if you're working 8 hours a day, that means just in that first 2 hours, all you need is just 5 customers. 5 customers, you're going to make that 10,000, but you still got those extra 4 hours, right? I mean, those extra 3 hours. So you take those, and that's just 5 tables you need, right? So I say you take that 5 tables, you multiply it by 4. You multiply that by 4. 5 tables, multiply it by. Let me do this first. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Divided by 26, divided by 75. Goes to, okay. And then you want to work 8 hours, so you just multiply that by extra 5 times 4. And then so that'll be 20 tables. And then let's say you have 20 tables and you multiply that by $75. And so, sorry, 20 tables. 20 tables times, and that's 8 hours. 20 tables, 8 hours times $75. So that'll be $1,500 you make in one day. And then you multiply that by 26 days. I think that's correct. And that's 30. Oh, wait, maybe. Wait, I'm sorry. Divided by 26 equals 2, and then divided by $75. Then multiply it by 420, and then multiply that by 75. Okay, so I can teach math, I can't even calculate properly. It's bad. Okay, forget it. Just 75, just use 75. So so you have 20 tables, 20 tables. Then you multiply that by $75. So working 8 hours one day, I said like if you get those customers, because everybody always by appointment. So in one day they make $1,500. Then you multiply that by 26. In 1 month, that's $39,000. And then you multiply that by 12 months, and that's $468,000. And so what I said to her was, let's say like if you have a bigger room, okay, and let's say, or you have another store, but let's say you get more tables. So instead of having 5 tables, and instead of having 5 tables, you have, let's say, 10 tables. So then you multiply this that 468,000 by 2, and in 1 year you make it $936,000. And I said that's where the math. Oh, yeah. And I told her that's where the math come in. That's where the algebra come in. And I said, so what was the variable in in that algebra? And I guess she was she was concentrating on 960 something $1,000 a year. And I said the variable was the tables. How many tables did you need? And then when I explained it to her, she was like, oh my God. She said, oh, now I understand the importance of math. Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna go back and tell my students this. And so a lot of parents don't, I'm not saying the parents, but a lot of people who are taking math, they don't understand that the value of mathematics, even though, mathematics is us. We are math, you know. And with that, I'm done. Please, somebody say something.
I don't I don't know what to say. I agree. I we homeschool, so me, I'm just trying to find some uh, some ways, some better ways to get things done. You know, um, Yeah, but I know math is really to me, it's the most important subject based on what I believe the future will hold. I think that understanding how computers function and programming and things like that are going to be the wave of the future. And that I never met a broke person who was really good at math ever. So that's another thing. So I met people who were good at history. I met people who were really good at history who were unemployed, English, everything else, but never a person who was really good at math. So that's something that I believe is a really practical skill that is going to be something that never goes away, right? The people who are good at math will always be able to figure things out. That's just my opinion. But yeah, I'm just here trying to find better ways to get to teach my children. That's it. And I'm not a math teacher. I'm not so good at everything. But I feel like it's better for me to do it than to trust that the teachers in the school. I went to a school where everybody didn't have a book, right? You had to share books, 30 something plus children in the class, and you know I was explaining that to my son today. That how can you expect what does homework look like when you can't take the book home? How do you expect people to progress in that way? And it's been like that for years. You know, so we're just trying to find a better way, and I'm all ears. I'm all ears.
Okay. Yeah, I can the yeah, it's I mean, it's really sad because well, I'm not going to that's it's something we should be talked about. It's okay. Yeah, I just sent you my what is that thing called? My email address and just what is that email there and I can send you a number because I'm in Japan right now and I have a what is that Magic Jack and or um WhatsApp or whatever. And then we can go back and forth on I can actually call you or you can call me or we can just go into a room on here and just discuss, what it is that you need. Basically when I teach, um I always encourage parents to start teaching their children from 3 years old how to multiply and divide first because it's much easier to teach that than it is to do addition and subtraction, purely for the reason that when you're multiplying and dividing, you only use one set. But when you're doing addition and subtraction, you're using multi steps, and then I mean multiple sets, and on top of that, there's just a whole bunch of steps that's really needed and stuff. And there's an easier way to do it. So basically. Oh, my name's Ralph, by the way. Basically, I just go multiplication, then from multiplication, go into division. Division is a beautiful way to introduce fractions. And then once you do the fractions, then I teach them how to divide with decimals in and outside of the decimal sign. First inside, then outside, and then with both. And then because you're teaching I mean decimals, then it's easy to go into percentages because you just move it over two times and that's it. And then from there, I go and teach them coordinates, how to graph coordinates, X and Y and stuff like that. Go ahead
Hey,
if you got something
I
to
have a
say.
question. Yeah, I have a question for you, right? Um, so I believe that this whole cyber schooling thing really is a blessing, right? Especially for children in the inner city, who weren't getting the proper attention. And I'm not saying that, they have the type of homes that they don't have they might have a lot going on at home too, right? But having a teacher be able to really focus on them for a couple minutes and, you know, call on them, and the parent being in the background and being able to see, how things go, I feel like it's a blessing. So do you teach children? Do you have like a tutoring thing that you do? That's one. Like, what's your credentials? Like, are you a mathematician, engineer? And third, I guess, is like, what are you doing in Japan?
Oh, okay. I do online, and I can do that. Um, Usually, okay, let me do the credentials first. I did go to college. I didn't finish because I ended up coming to Japan making like well over $1 million, like $1.5 million. But I walked away from all that stuff, and then my friend introduced me to the English industry that was going on here. And I didn't find out about that until like 5 to 7 years after I was here and got into that. And I was really good teaching, kids how to, you know, 4 years old. Some students, it depends on how they um, apply themselves, which they only need to pay attention like 30, 40% of the time. That's it. And I have a bunch of students by the end of the year, they're able to take a word in English, make their own sentence, and they understand how to match subjects and verbs. They know what a noun is, plural noun, singular noun. They know how to differentiate between that. They know how to use a, and the. They know when to use and. They do know how to verify where they use a or and also tell them if the word's countable. Then they have to check if it's uncountable. Don't use it, and then they know when to use the you know, and then I teach them how what verbs are singular and plural verbs and stuff like that. And so by the end of the year, I've had a whole bunch of 4 year olds, 5 year olds, and stuff doing that, and they're able to take a word, think of it themselves, and just say it in English. And um, I don't know how this came about. My daughter, she's 34 years old now, but when she was 4.5 years old, me and her mom, I knew we were getting divorced and stuff. So her mother wasn't really into the studies and stuff. She was a white lady and stuff. We married, we were just friends when we got married. We divorced friends. We still friends now, It was just, she decided to do something else. And I was like, bye, it's cool. I always kept in touch with my kids now, up to these days too. But I taught her the phonics, how to read, write, use a dictionary, and how to add, multiply, subtract, divide, decimals, fractions, percentages, basic algebra, basic trigonometry, and basic calculus. I've taken all those classes in college, all the way up to um, basic physics. I mean physics one, I guess, and then engineering, mathematics. And there is a underlying foundation that if you understand it, you can move your children through all of them. It's really easy. The the number one, the most important, which is the most difficult thing to about math, is vocabulary. I've asked a whole bunch of people, what does the word multiply mean? And from the 6 to 8 years I've been asking it, only five, no, six people told me the answer. And it's weird. All of them were black, but five of them were black women. One was a black guy, and actually, he ended up answering the question like a couple of months ago. So that was like, wow. But um, you don't have to tell me the answer. I'm not going to give you the answer today. Just think about it and don't use a dictionary. Because if you use a dictionary, you'll do it. But next time we talk, then tell me what you think. But don't use the dictionary, but think about it though. And a lot of people don't know the math. And when you're doing anything, when you're studying, the vocabulary is important. And when you're doing mathematics, it's the vocabulary. My son, I told him that when he was in the seventh grade. When he got to 10th grade, he took the SAT for the fun of it. Out of 2,400, he got 2185. That was in um, some prestigious high school, public high school in Plus, you gotta
Actually,
do all
the
these
Bible tells
works.
us what multiply mean, but I don't know if it's the same definition.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that
Tell me.
that kind of was what I was thinking too. To increase.
Right.
That was
I'll get that from the Bible, so I don't know if that's the same thing in as it goes in math.
It just means to copy.
Okay, well yeah. Okay, well yeah, and the Bible means to increase.
I mean, it does. You do increase,
Yeah.
but when you, uh, but when you multiply, you're just copying. The simple
Okay.
synonym is just
Okay.
copying. But also, a lot of people always say adding, or they're saying doubling, which is also increasing. But the basics of multiplying is not adding, it's only duplicating. And that's it. You take one set and you just duplicate it, and
That
that's it.
makes a lot of
And
sense. You know,
oh yeah, it
it
does.
makes a lot of sense. Wow, and
and
that's a whole nother. Okay, now you got me. Okay, going deep with that. All right,
yeah,
thank you for that.
you're welcome. And so the whole thing is once you understand the proper meaning for the words, like they're saying, these scholars and stuff, they're saying, oh, children do not have the intellect to study grammar, or they don't have the intellect to study higher level math, so just play these games with them. But the word intellect means to have, it means to have a capacity. That's all, to learn. But you have to have a capacity. Without having that capacity to learn, you can't do anything. And then it says, especially higher math and stuff like that. But what do you need? What does a child need to have capacity? Do you know what that is?
You said, what does a child need to have in
Yeah,
order to have
space. I
capacity?
don't
A
open
Yeah,
brain.
opportunities.
ex- exactly what you said, Mark, a brain. That's all. And so these scholars are saying this, these teachers are saying this, these parents are saying this. And I'm like, well, if any, if you want to learn something, you have to have a brain capacity. If you can tell a child to sit down, they sit down, then that's intellect. That's all it is. So people make it way more difficult than it is. So if they have a brain, then it's up to the parents to teach mathematics in a way that their child can understand it, to teachers in a way the child can understand it. And the big problem with that is that there is a problem, and I understand why, but I don't want to go into this. Kind of leads way off into some other stuff. But yeah, so all they need is a brain. And then I just gave you the definition of what the word multiply means. And then if you're able to do that and understand it, like I told my son, it's all about math, the vocabulary. And like I said, he took it, SAT scored 2185 out of 2400. Of course, the newspaper, they didn't say anything about it. And then he went and graduated from some college in California with a 3.96 GPA. He called me. He said, "Dad, you were right." And I was like, "All right about what?" He said, "Vocabulary." I'm like, "What are you talking about, vocabulary?" And he said, "Yeah, you told me, studying is all about the vocabulary." And I did it, and I graduated with the highest honors uh, at that school, 3.96. He was number one in his class. And I was like, wow, you actually did it. And I was surprised because the example I gave him was he once he took that test, he got all these offers and scholarship after he graduated. He was like, "What can I do?" I said, "I already told you, it's just vocabulary." And he said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "If you read a book titled Thermonuclear Quantum Physics, and it was 14,000 pages long, and you understood every word in that book, then what part of that book would you not understand?" And he said there would be no parts he wouldn't understand. And I said, there you go. It's the vocabulary. And when you're reading, you know how they say, try to guess the word based on the context. And I tell them, don't believe that. There are many words you're going to run into where you are not going to guess it by the context. Just take that 3 minutes, look at it in the dictionary. If the dictionary is too difficult, get a thesaurus and write down the word and use it in your vocabulary. And he did that, and I was surprised. But mathematics, education is all about words, and you know, uh, only thing I could express to you is just a suggestion. Like I said earlier, you weren't here, Mark, but when I moved from Detroit, Detroit made me smart. I was in um, advanced math by the time I was in the sixth grade. I went to LA, lived in Westwood, went to school in Bel Air. If you don't believe me, there's a school. It was called Bellagio Elementary Road School. And I graduated in 1976. And if they do, which they should, have a school picture, and I'll be the black kid right in the middle of the picture with the frown on his face. And when I was over there, the difference between blacks and whites, the real difference is because a few years ago they had this thing going on, rich white kids versus poor black kids. It has nothing to do with the money. Those rich kids, those rich parents knew their kids didn't study. So what they did was they brought their vocabulary from their professions home and enforced, even when I was over there, enforced all of us to use that vocabulary at home. So these kids were getting these vocabularies from graduate schools, masters, whatever. And so they were getting that education there at home. So when they went to school, they already understood the vocabulary. And when you understand the vocabulary, whatever the teacher's saying, you're going to instantly comprehend it. And so that's where a lot of them were able to excel. But in the black neighborhoods, the mothers and the fathers were lawyers and architects too, but they didn't bring their uh, vocabulary from work home. They came home, and the language we use in the homes and stuff that was used in the neighborhoods, and that language kept black kids down. So I encourage parents now, just whatever your vocabulary is at work, just bring it home. Your kid's going to catch on, or just they don't, just make them get a dictionary. You tell them, because when I was in the white neighborhoods, they used to always say, I was over there for like 3 or 4 years. And they were like, listen, don't be afraid of being that you don't understand the word. If you don't understand the word, ask the person. If they want to talk, tell you, then you get a dictionary and stop talking to that person because that's not your friend. A friend will tell you what the word means. It takes 2 seconds. They said ignorance lasts only 5 minutes. Get a dictionary, bam. Now you competent. And so, you know, but that's absent in the black neighborhood. If we were to use the vocabulary from our homes, from our jobs at home, our kids would instantly reach the same levels. But we have to understand, and I'm sorry, I'm totally going off subject. But the reason that the schools that they're not really trying too hard is because education, advanced education, with the education comes power, comes technology. That's what it is. And with technology, it's going to come power. And we're always complaining about what black people, white people did to us, but people don't want to look at what happened before Columbus went to America when we were ruling Spain. The Moors were over there for 800 years. And they got this thing, oh, black people went over there and teach. No, them black guys did not go over there and teach, and they brought their culture over. They brought their way of living over, and they ruled for 800 years. If I walked in your house, Mark, and said, okay, I'm here and I'm teaching you, but I'm ruling your house for 800 years, I don't think you're going to appreciate that. And so, um, what the white people are doing, which I think it might be smart, it might be wrong, but they're not telling us what we did to them when we ruled them. They're only telling us what they're doing to us. And so that's causing this anger in us. The reason we got into read these books, I'm sure you probably read, it's called The Moors of Spain. And if you read it, those whites had no chance of winning. The reason that the Moors lost, it was an in-house family fighting in the royal family and stuff. The younger brother was jealous of the older brother, and the king found out because the black knights were like, those white knights couldn't touch him. And so when he found out about the jealousy, he went to the brother and said, if you help me defeat your brother, then I will give you anything. But the brother had everything. He controlled half the army. He had money, women, whatever you wanted, he had it. He wanted to be number one. just like with the devil fought against God. It was like one of those situations. And so he took his part of the army that was loyal. They both fought and they decimated themselves to the point where the white people walked in. Because had those armies been strong enough, they would have those white people would have never been able to take over. But
And what was the name of
go
that
ahead.
book? Now I'm very familiar with the Moors, but I never heard this story. Can you please? I did get your email
Okay.
address. Can you please also send the title of that book, and if you have the author as well, I would appreciate
Oh,
that. Thank you.
okay. I don't know the off. There's a whole bunch of, but I know Ivan. What's his name?
Van
Ivan
Sertima.
Van Sertima. Yeah,
Yeah.
he. Oh, wait. Moors in Moors in Spain is the name of the book. I think there's
Okay. Moors
like
in Spain.
yeah, three of them or something. But there's
Okay.
this yeah. So it's
All right.
there.
Okay. All right. I'm just really, I've read a lot about the Moors. I've just never heard that story. That's to me a very critical piece of
Oh, the
information
Moors
that
was
I.
something else. You know, they helped even construct the doggone the Constitution. It's just it backfired. All their what they wanted to, you know, this is a theory though, but they had a hand in their own demise. And this is my own theory. I think they wanted to shake hands with the devil. I think they kind of coveted the patriarchy that the Europeans had, because in a lot of, believe it or not, in a lot of our nations, especially like I'm well, my paternal side is actually indigenous, and we had a more egalitarian nation, you know, where both men and women ruled simultaneously. And so
Yeah.
is on a lot of African nations, and as well, you know, some was patriarchs, some was matriarchs, and some was whatever that word was. However, with the Moors, they wanted a complete patriarchy like the Europeans had. So they thought that they would be able to join forces with the Europeans to make all of their nations a complete patriarchy. And in return, what happened? I don't know how it happened. It flipped on them, and they became the oppressed. The Europeans totally took over, and when they were supposed to be, I'm sorry to say, because people get mad when I say it, when they were just really supposed to be protecting us, their women, they tried to conquer us, and instead they got conquered instead.
Yeah, it's yeah, the story is just really interesting. And there's a reason why I brought it up. But when I tell a lot of brothers, they don't know that. And I said, what you have to understand is that we went through 3, 4, 500, however many years it was, but we always go back. But if we go back 3, 4, 510 years ago or 50 years ago, we were ruling them. And um, and what we need to understand is white people, how many times in written history have they had power? From my understanding, only three times. Once with the Greeks, but the original Greeks were black, and Alexander was a fool. He even got killed, and somebody killed him or something, and they lost their power. Then in Rome, but Rome is a city; it's not a country. And what's his name? Hannibal was over there playing games and stuff, instead of going over there and defeating them, he was playing games, and so um, they beat him. But in Rome, anyone who had money could have been a Caesar, because Roman they didn't have that racism inside of you. Were Rome, you were Roman. If you weren't from Rome, then from that city, then you were looked down on and stuff like that. And there were a whole bunch of black Caesars in Rome, but then they fell, and now what we're going through now. And I tell a lot of brothers that the racism that we have nowadays, the white racism, we have the way we're looking is totally wrong. White people have always been on the slave for annihilation. Genghis Khan was the last one to attempt it, and he was on his way to Western Europe to kill them all, you know. And the only thing that stopped him was somebody in his family got sick. Otherwise, white men wouldn't exist today. You and I wouldn't be talking today. America wouldn't, the world wouldn't, it would be a totally different place. I don't know what, if it'd been better or worse, I don't know, but this wouldn't have been here. But white people have gotten lucky, but and it's only three times that I can remember, that I can remember. But the white man knows what we did to him. They got that history, but they're not sharing that history with us, or we're not actually going out there and get it. Or if we are getting it, for some reason, because I did tell the story I was talking to four brothers out here in Osaka, and one of them, when I told the story about the Moors and stuff, one brother said he read it, and but he just glossed over it. And I'm like, why would you gloss over that? Because that act, what that brother did, when he defeated his brother, he went back to the king and said, I defeated him. I want this. And that white king put him in slavery. And then from that, that's how Columbus went over there. Of course, they say blacks took him over there. And there's all kinds of crazy stories about him, though. But, and that was the event. That was that's the beginning of that black on black crime. That's what I call it. That black on black crime, divide and conquer, was what initiated the series of events that led to us talking now. And had the brother killed that white king, which he should have did, for him threatening, him to, he should have killed him. He wouldn't have gotten in trouble, anything, but he didn't do it. So he was just greedy. So, and the reason I'm saying that there's a point, so I get back to the math. What's his name? Malcolm X said something that's really cool. He said, only a fool would would let his enemies educate his children. But the opposite is even worse. Only a fool would educate the children of his enemies. We, in history, if we know what we've been doing, we are not the white man. We are not his friend. We were more enemies to them. We always had an advantage. They were always at the bottom. We always ruled them. And like I said, plus the annihilation. So the racism that we're going through in the United States, my definition is the white man created a system just to give his DNA a chance to live on this planet as long as possible. And like I said, Greek, Rome, and now. If the white man give up his power now, he'll never get it back again. And I'm saying what he's doing right now is desperation because no one is befriending the white man. He has, when they were born, he has always been um, the least on the earth, and he's always been talked about, and they suffered a lot. And I said the only way we're going to be able to do anything is we're going to have to. I said, because I was telling him, I went and said we're going to have to become friends with him, but I said we don't even have to do that. What we have to do is we have to start learning this mathematics. And back in the old days, it was just saying if you ask a black child to do math, he'll cry. You ask a black man to study math, he'll shoot you. When I was coming, I'm 57. When I was coming up, that was in our days. And um, and so I tell brothers, sisters, I'm saying, listen, we're gonna have to get this math. That's the only thing. We have to get our technology up. And I give them a scenario. Um, you know how blacks don't want to move together because they think the white man's going to drop a bomb, nuclear bomb and stuff on it, just wipe us all out. But I said, if we were to be able to develop drones that were like 1/8 the size or 1/16 the size of a lice or a flea or whatever, and we have billions up in the sky, we designed them where they were transparent, they wouldn't interfere with nature. It's like you're looking up and you won't even see them, and the solar power could be any light from any of the stars or whatever would you know um, that energy would be absorbed and those fleets would be up there. And then we created a chemical that could absorb radiation and nuclear fallout and it's instantly and then turn into drinkable rainwater. And let's say if China was to send a nuclear bomb blew it over our neighborhoods, those fleas or those drones would release that chemical, absorb it, and change it into drinkable rainwater. I said, you know, white man, China, whatever. I said, would you be afraid of white man? And every brother I asked that said no. And I said, okay, stop talking about the white man because the white man is not our problem. The white man has never been our problem.
I have a
Our
question
problem
about that
is
too.
lack of technology.
I
That's
have a
it.
qu-
Go ahead.
I have a question. What do you think? Because what I think is I go into some of these Israelite rooms, and they think that Babylon is crumbling. I think that too. However, I don't think that black people are going to be the superpower. I think Asians are. That's who I think will rule over or dominate the earth. What do you think?
I totally agree with you. Uh, that's what I've been telling a lot of brothers. I'm like, you know, China right now, you know, they're developing. The only thing that's going to stop, if the white man, the only thing that's going to stop China is if the white man in Russia, Israel, get on China right now where they're still weak, you know, because now China got these hypersonic um, aircraft carrier destroyers that move so fast they can't even be detected. But Russia have them too. And luckily for us, China is located in a place where all they got to do, where, you know, they create floods, it'll just push everything out in the ocean. So, and I don't know what the technology United States is, but if United States fall, Russia, I think they got enough to take out China. So, so I'm not worried about that. But I told brothers, if the white man in the United States fell, Jamaicans, they got a, I think Jamaicans got an army. You know, all those Caribbean, Black Caribbean countries got armies. They got it. Oh, she's gone. Yeah. Oh, she's back. Um. Anyway, if the white man in the United States fell, the Caribbeans, the Black Caribbean countries that got armies and got navies, they can come to America and take over. Because what do we have? What does the black man have? Do we even have planes? Do we have a official navy? You
No, we
know, do
got
we
gym
have
shoes
any?
and cars.
Yeah. And it's funny too that you said that because some brothers were talking about, oh, we need to do this and that, and this we can fight the main man. And I'm looking at, I said, no, we are nothing. We need to start befriending these white men, telling them we ain't gonna leave their white women alone, and we're gonna have to work with them. That's the only thing that's gonna save us, and we got to get this technology up. We're gonna have to work side by side because the minute they fall, we messed up like you said. And they said, no, we're gonna go to war with the white man, we're gonna do this. I said, man, all they gotta do is turn off your cell phone service. That's all they gotta do. And I'm
Real
telling you, all
talk.
the brothers I was talking to, they did just what you said. They started laughing. And I'm saying, see, you guys have put that, and y'all need to leave that Israel stuff alone, do this and leave that alone. Y'all better start studying, get on that mathematics. And I said, it don't make no sense because our ancestor created the mathematics and their descendants hate it. It makes absolutely no sense. We have no chance. Canada could come down and take us. Mexico could come up and take us over. You know, I mean, black man, like I'm like, unless God really come and interfere and do that, fine. But even if God did come and destroy our enemies, what we gonna do? How are we gonna organize? If oh man, you know, I'm getting off subject. But anyway, let me
No,
get back on subject. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
no. I was just going to say that why would God come now? Like, what would be so different about now than when we were in Africa when the Arabs came? You know, we're talking about thousands of years. Why would we, as you know, reasonable people, rely on something like that? You know what I mean?
It's ridiculous, Mark, because they certainly do. I hear it all the time. I'm like, what's really gonna happen? Because we don't really have any resources. What Jesus going? Well, they don't say Jesus. Yahshua, whatever name they choose to call, is gonna crack open the sky and destroy their enemies, and they gonna rule over the white people, and they gonna have handmaidens and 20 million wives, and they gonna live happily ever after, and that's their story, and that's what they stick to.
Well, if you look at you know, I always say, even with this new it seems like we black people are moving towards different types of religions, like the belief in the ancestors and those different types of things. Though that's what was in place when we got taken out the last time, right? What we needed then was like the brother saying, technology. That was the problem. It was not we didn't have any spiritual problems. We had technology problems. They had gunpowder guns, all different types of weaponry that we didn't know how to defend against. We were isolated from the world in a sense because of the desertification, and we and the Arabs was kind of, we couldn't get past them, and we just didn't have access to the proper technology, the upgraded stuff to be able to compete. And that's where we and that. So when the brothers start talking about learning about math and everything, I do 100% agree. And it's moving so fast now. We got to get on. We got to get a handle on it now because technology is moving way, way, way too fast. Way too fast.
Right. And they have been like pushing coding and actually Harvard too is offering all type of free little classes at a nominal fee, a lot cheaper than what was before in a lot of community colleges. So it's almost like they are giving us a opportunity to get it together. We just need to take advantage of that. And thank you for bringing that out because that's so true. And that's one reason why I came into this room, because I am one of those people that are like, oh, math. But I think you are 1,000% right. If we don't, I mean, I was just really coming in to listen, for you to talk about math. So I'm like, if I can subconsciously just get the basics in my brain, I can probably grow from there, because I think you're a million. You're both very, very right. If we don't get with it, we're gonna get behind.
Yeah, wait, hold on one second. Sorry, hold on.
And so while he's doing that, so if I got to start with preschool type math while he's teaching the kids, I can just sit back and listen. But yeah, we got to start getting that ingrained in our subconscious somehow.
Yeah, what both of you are saying is right. I talked to a lot of, because I'm in Japan. I talk to brothers online and stuff, and I already told them um, that the white man realized that his worst enemy is his best enemy, because we as black people um in America, um we don't have any outside context. In other words, we don't have a home, because I think they were saying like um less than 10% of us actually came from other countries. So we've always been here in the America. I mean, all the way from Iceland all the way down to Chile or whatever, Falkland Islands, whatever. Blacks have always been there, and they're coming out with these studies saying that they didn't come from the straits; they came from the south up to the north, and so they're coming out with a lot of what is that called? These studies that they tried to hold back years ago, but the white man is realizing that his best enemy, like I said, is the black man, because we can. Um, wait, hold on. Wow, I can't believe it. Uh, because we are the ones who can. Sorry. Um, they're realizing. I'm thinking that they're realizing that they're making a mistake. They created this. I mean, of course, I'm like I said, it's just self-preservation for them. So I totally understand it. But they made a mistake by letting all these other Asian people in, and then they realizing that hey, these we are smart. They know we're not dumb, but yeah, this computer. I'm sorry. Um, they understand that we're smart, and these schools they're offering help because they know that once we start getting our intelligence up, that just our presence, our what's it called? Our presence, our vibrations. All Black people around the world. When we step into place, all eyes are on us. And a lot of people going to bow down, even um, their chemistry. If their melanin isn't there, if that pure 100% power of the melanin isn't there, then our vibrations are going out and it's hitting things. And if our vibration is going out and it's hitting them, and they're not able to absorb it, but they get burnt like the sun does. We absorb the rays and all that stuff. They get burnt, then they know that they're going to get weak or something like that. But anyway, they realizing that if they want to save America, they're going to have to build us up. But they got to build us up in a way where it doesn't make them seem like a coward, and in such a way where they don't really want to acknowledge mistakes. And I wrote a paper about this supremacy like 10 years ago, maybe 11 years ago, when that right racist theory or something was going out there. And I wrote some. It was really funny, but it was really the truth though. But you know, they're realizing that everyone else that's coming from these other countries is going to get the information. If they can get that information, they taking that stuff home. But we get the information, we're not taking it anywhere. We're going to build. And so uh, I think that's where, it's going to have to come down to the point where they just going to say, hey, Black man, we apologize, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, blah. If you want to save your land, we want to save this land too, because they can't run back to England and all this stuff, because they're not accepted back at home. Um, we're going to have to work together. But at the same time, Black men just going to have to, I think that instead of we searching about what they did to us for the past 400 years, in which I don't know why people just only leave it at that, we need to go back and see what did we do to them, and it's only going to complete a full circle, you know, it's going to just complete a full circle. But like I said, um, Malcolm X said, only a fool will let his enemies teach his children, but only a fool will teach the children of his enemies. And these white people, if we believe what Malcolm X said, then the opposite is true. And the reality is, white people should not be teaching our kids, because of the Constitution and all that stuff. Yeah, but now they got these schools failing and stuff like that, and they do proper. Our children do have access to that stuff. We do have Black teachers in there. We have intelligent, wise Black teachers in there, but because we lack that respect for each other, you know, then we don't hold ourselves up to, the proper standards where we should start learning and stuff. And so these white people understand that if the Black kids start learning mathematics, because like my original program, from if they started 3 years old, by the time they start first grade, they could start algebra. Because I did that with my daughter in 6 months, and if she could do it, any kid can do it. And actually in 6 months, she actually went up to calculus, and calculus is just a mathematics, just dealing on how to measure a curve. That's all. So basically, it's not that difficult, but so what they're understanding is, if these Black children start learning this math, then they're going to be able to compete with white people, because white people made a competition. We are in competition with them. We're not in friendship with them. We're in competition with them. And they know that our children are smart. They done did tests. They know that. And if our kids get above them, then and then our technology, then they fear that, you know, they're going to go back into the bondage and the treatment that they've been going through, that we've done on them before. And a lot of Blacks don't want to admit that we did do that, and we have to, somewhere something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. But um, if we don't talk to these white men and, get the crazy ones out and to just talk to the regular white men and say, hey, you know, this is going to happen. If this don't happen, this is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. We're going to wait too late, and if there is a guy or whatever, you know, China's building up now. They got this superconductor thing that's supposed to be hotter than the sun and all kinds of stuff that's going on. What are we going to do?
You know what?
Because
I think that's happening though. I think organically. I don't. I think sometimes even me, I have a habit of doing it. I focus on um the dead. As the Bible says, sometimes you got to just let the dead bury their own dead. But sometimes it feels as though we all can have this savior complex, and we want to reach back and save these people with that's stuck in this mindset. However, when I go into other rooms, I do see people of like minds trying to collaborate, because what's impossible, I don't think going back and digging up the future, I mean the past, is going to help anything, because people are going to believe what they want to believe regardless, and history has been changed so many times. I've seen history be changed right in front of my own eyes. you know Whatever narrative that somebody want to put, people have rose colored glasses. So I honestly don't think going back and rectifying history is going to cause any any changes. What I believe, the only thing that I would believe would cause any changes is forgiveness, is not being stuck in the past, to letting that crap go and moving forward. But trying to recreate or redeem with the past, I think that's what's keeping people stuck. That's why I see, folks wearing costumes like they living in the medieval days. So that trauma is just keeping them circular. We spend so much time arguing about the validity of history. I don't see that doing any good. I just think people need to let it go and move forward.
I agree. I agree with that to a certain extent, right? Because what I realized too is that every they t- our these are our leaders telling us this, right? Our leaders are telling us that if we don't know our history, we can't do this, we can't do that, right? So there was this large movement towards learning history, right? And we found out that okay, once you learn your history, now what, right? It ain't help us financially. We still messed up in the game, right? So and then it was like a religion, and it was like this. It's like we allow every leader. If I'm a historian and I'm a leader, I'm telling you that you need to learn history because you're gonna buy my books and you're gonna help get me out of poverty, but you still gonna
Exactly.
be in poverty. And the same thing with these different religions that's popping up. They telling people, hey man, join my religion. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna save your soul, right? But you still gonna be in poverty. But guess what? My Benz gonna get some new rims.
Exactly.
It's not helping the people. What we gotta go toward one thing about it is like we're talking about is survival. We got to stop. Like this is not a movie. This is real life. So when a brother he talking about learning math and so if they was instead of preaching learning history, right? I'm not saying that you shouldn't know your history. I'm saying that the black people who first came out of slavery were very productive, but they didn't know nothing about history at all. They didn't know where they came from, none of that really. They just knew that they had to get some stuff done, and they went and did it. If we focus on science and math the way we focus on religion and history, this problem will be over in 20 years, 30 years.
I agree 1,000%. And that's right, because they come up with these fake civil right movements asking for donations. Where do the donations go to? Like, I'm in Detroit. My city still is a mess, and we will have protests for whatever. Wendell Anthony's here, the president of the Detroit chapter of NAACP. They always having some type of movements and asking for some type of donations, but I don't see our people in any better condition. So that we need another movement, and I think that's right. Why can't we have a STEM, a technical that word, a technology movement? But you're right. Like I said, I think history is fake anyway. I think history is relative, subjective. Is based on other people's perceptions. It's not numbers. It doesn't make sense to me. So yes. So I hope people like, I don't know, GS. I hope you guys do just boom and take over these old fake civil right movements and create some real technology type movements.
Thank you. Wait one second. Hello, Dennis. I think you've been in here before, but I'm just give a retake. The title Preschoolers and Graphing Coordinates. Uh, basically, um, graphing coordinates is very easy to teach children from 3 years old. The reason I do that with my students after I teach them multiplication and division, and then I jump into coordinates because it's easy to do that. Just show them X and X, Y, show them where the 0, 0 is on the X's and stuff, 1, 1, 3, 3, and stuff, and then you can do that. But the reason I do that is because it introduces children to the variables X and Y, and once they do that, then it's easy to start going into y equals to x, y equals to x plus 0, y equals to x plus 1, which introduces them. Actually, it's a really fun way to introduce them to algebra. So that's what this room is about. But we are just talking about um, uh, just, I don't know, I guess they can explain it. But anyway, yeah, the room is just basically this room is just about trying to convince uh, parents to start teaching their children multiplication and division. I believe that's they should do that first because it's much easier to teach that than addition and subtraction. And just start teaching them early. The academic world or whatever, they say that children do not have intellect, but they don't know what the word intellect means. The word intellect just means to have capacity, and as Mark said, let's see, Mark, as he said, the only thing a child needs to have capacity is a brain. If they have a brain, then they have the capacity to learn. And so I just push. I don't push. I advocate parents starting off with uh, multiplication and then division because those are much easier to teach children. And pretty much that's it. You have anything you want to say?
Hey, how's it going? I'm mostly just sitting in and listening to the conversation. So I know it went kind of like two different ways. I heard something about history, and then I guess you talking about preschoolers and graphing and so forth. So yeah, I'm just kind of listening in on the conversation. I don't really have much to share at the moment.
Okay. Yeah. Basically, uh, maybe I brought up something about the technology and stuff, and what happened in Spain that causes what we're going through now. So we were talking about what the Morse in-house finding caused this. But getting back to the math thing, and I guess the main basic is that if we don't jump on this mathematics, don't get our kids into the mathematics, if we don't get the adults into the mathematics, then we're ever going to fall behind. And a really important thing was saying, like, if the white man falls in America, then any other country that has an army can easily come in and take over. Matter of fact, the Latinos started here from all those countries that do have armies and military, and ain't no telling how many of them are military trained that's are already in the United States, can easily take over and the black man and woman in the United States is pretty much helpless. And like I said, I got some friends always talking about they want to fight the white man. And I'm laughing at them like that's not going to happen because all they got to do is turn off your cell phone service and that's it. And when I said that, all of them started laughing. I'm like, man, you guys are just so pathetic, because we are, as black people with lack of mathematics, technological advantages, science, and all of that stuff, we're, we're just like a I don't know, it's like a baby giraffe or a gazelle, just got separated from a pack and just waiting for a lion or some wild beast to come and eat it. And that's the situation we are in. We are totally helpless at this point. If they can turn off our cell phone service and that will stop. We can't go to the world without communication. That's really sad. So basically that's it. You guys want to say anything else before I continue with some other stuff?
Well, no, I'm really interested in like I said, when I first came in the room, is that I homeschool. I homeschool my children, and I'm just trying to find better ways to improve their experience. I want them to learn, I want them to learn more faster, right? But so I'm trying to, I guess, network with people who can help with that. That's why I came in the room and I heard you speaking. I'm like, okay, well maybe he knows something, and then you start explaining that you were in Japan and everything. So I'm interested in my children getting the best possible education. They're 6, 7 years old, 13. So I'm trying to make sure that with this new model that we have, right? Which is not really, I guess it's really, I guess it is a new model that where homeschooling is becoming a thing, and they're starting to come up with better and better ways to deliver. Um, but of course, the cost of things matter too. You know what I mean? It's not just gotta make sense financially too. I got them taking Chinese and Spanish online, but I don't have them doing anything with math, which is very, very important to me. So I'm doing the best that I can myself, trying to get them, me and my wife. So that's me.
Hello,
Yeah.
Devon. How are you?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna chime in on that. So I was kind of interested in knowing more about what particular platforms or curriculum you're using for homeschool, if you're using any, because I know you said you're doing some online classes, but interested to like learn more of what you're doing exactly in the house and when it comes to curriculum and classes.
Okay, so I'm in PA, and the children don't have to actually go to school until they're 8 years old, right? So I have a 6 year old, and a 7 year old, and a 13 year old. My 13 year old, he's in cyber academy, and you know, he's doing well with that. But the classes that with the 6 and 7 year old, me and my wife, we teach them um, what we can, what we know, and we have again. I pay for Chinese and Spanish, and it was a kind of an issue with that too. Like nothing is as simple and as easy as it sounds when it comes to this stuff, right? It's not, you got to work around what they're doing. In China, their schedule is completely different than ours, so it doesn't really match up. And then I have the Spanish classes where we get a different teacher every time, man. So that's kind of weird. But I believe that like just for math and technology, for math especially, that if you get a good teacher, get the kids that actually understand children and really enjoy what they do, man, that's everything. My wife is limited in some areas, right? And we kind of conflict on what we think that the children should know, right, for them to be successful in life. But math is something that I know is has always been important, right? Being able to solve problems, and I think that math helps with that. Being able to, life to me is a word problem. That's what I tell them that that life is a mathematical word problem. No matter what, you're trying to solve a problem, and intelligence is the ability to solve problems. That's my thing. So me, I take them. I teach chess, and a couple of other things to them, and my wife does the other stuff with them. I try to, you know, geography, everything. We going through it. 6 and 7 year olds, trying to get them to. I'm trying to prepare them for like a cyber academy or something like that, which is not really. I would like to do it myself, man, but I'm a business owner, and when my wife got sick at one point, she had postpartum. I had to take on the responsibility of teaching the kids. I had to pretty much lay the business down, and I enjoy it. I enjoy that more than I enjoy anything else, to be honest with you. If I could do that full time, teach my children, I would. But I can't, right? Got a business to run. My wife got a. We all adapted to this new thing, right? So we built my wife a salon that's connected to the house, and I do business to business finance. I can do that from anywhere in the world, pretty much. Um, you know, a phone salesman. So we prepared to have to do it ourselves if we can't find, the right platform and the right people. That I'm really, I don't know. I don't trust everybody when it comes to my children. I'm really, really, I'm over the top. And when it comes to education, I'm really, really, I'm gonna be critical. I don't care what nobody. I don't care. Right. I understand what they got to go up against, and I want them to be prepared. And I don't know. As a black man, we don't really live as long as we would like usually, right? So we don't know we're gonna walk out that door and come back. So every single day matters. Can't afford to be teaching them nothing silly. Everything matters, and I guess that pretty much sums it up with me.
Yeah, no, thank you for that share. And two things, and before I get into those two things, I think you're doing an amazing job right now. And I think because you're in the midst of everything right going on, obviously, right, you're fretting a little bit. You want the best for your children, and every parent's like that. So you're doing a great job. So don't feel like you're not. And you're doing what you can to the capacity, right? Especially you being a business owner and so forth, and you have other endeavors that you're trying to accomplish. But two things, I know you said monetarily, right? You're just trying to find something that obviously doesn't break the bank. If you don't know, you can check edchoice.org. What I believe most states, there's a certain amount of states that give you a homeschool tax credit. So pretty much you get money for your children being homeschooled. So you definitely want to check into that. And I think PA is one of those qualifying states. So if you don't know about that, look into edchoice.org. And then you can pretty much apply for that and get some money so you can put that into your children's education so that right, you're not digging into your personal finances, trying to exhaust funds for their education. Because obviously, like you said, everything's new, right? This with everything and everyone being pretty much homeschooled, you're going to start seeing a very big divide, right, in education and how some kids are more able to have a tutor, right? They have more resources, right, because those parents have more right funds and so forth. Where you'll see other families that don't, right, and those kids probably won't have the best education because they don't have those resources. So definitely look into that. Um, there are many platforms out there that can help you with. helping your student or your child rather learn. um, I'm building a platform per se. I'm not trying to advertise it, but it is a video course and live class platform. So if you want to connect with a teacher or a tutor in a specific area of expertise, you can connect with them. Obviously you would have to pay for their time, but you can do either a live class with them, or if you want to go a little cheaper route, they may have like a video course where if they're doing a math activity or some kind of science class, they put it into a course, break it down into modules, and then you can pretty much purchase that course. And this is for basically K to 12. This is the niche of the platform. There are other platforms out there. I'm not sure if you're familiar with outschool.org or .com, but that's another live video platform. My son uses it regularly. There's various different classes on there, from language to math, science, art. I mean, even classes outside of the regular classroom. Um, and so we kind of rival with them, but I mean, they're a great platform, and I encourage you to use it for your children as well, so that they can learn different things. And um, you want to kind of have them learn things that are in the traditional sense, right? So those are my 2 cents. Again, check out edchoice.org for that grant, or rather, it's a tax credit, I believe. And then check out like outschool.com. I know Synthesis as well is another live platform that I believe Elon Musk created. I haven't played